Hello and welcome, all friends and devotees of yoga and Buddhism. Today is June the 16th, 2019. Sunday, June the 16th, 2019. And I am going to, what I have here, the package I have here is a wisdom resource from Venerable Master Singyung for all of you. Master Singyung, for those who might be watching my videos for the first time, is one of the foremost Chinese Buddhists living in our time. We are very fortunate to have Master Singyung. He's done very, very great work in humanistic Buddhism, teaching humanistic Buddhism all over the world. He has hundreds of temples, thousands of monks and nuns, and universities, several universities built all over the world. Okay. Master Singyung is a man of very great wisdom. He has personally authored over 100 books, just like the Dalai Lama. They are the only two Buddhists I know so far who have authored over 100 books. Master Singyung, of course, writes in Chinese, very complicated, and has translators who translate them into English. So this is one of the repositories, one of the wisdom resources from Master Singyung. Your wish for good fortune. In Chinese tradition, each household posts calligraphy of the characters spring and fortune. Spring and fortune at New Year's time, signifying as spring arrives in the world, good fortune fills the house. During ordinary times, people wish for the arrival of the 5 fortunes, and friends often bless each other with wishes of good fortune. Fortune means happiness and good luck. Buddhism also talks about fortune and merit and is much more thorough in its interpretation. Good fortune is not, however, something in the hands of deities. We need to cultivate good fortune. Besides enjoying our fortune, we also have to cherish what we have. We also have to cherish what we have. The following are ways to cherish our fortune. 1. These I call the 4 golden keys from Master Singyung. They're actually more valuable than gold. Wisdom. If you are a person who really has wisdom, who spent a good time of your life cultivating wisdom, you will know the treasures you have when you're able to really cultivate and develop wisdom. There's nothing of value in the world that can be compared to well-cultivated wisdom. 1, folks, and as for students, you folks need to have your pen and paper. Try to write down, jot down as much of these things as you can write down, or at least summarize some of these things, ideas, and have them in your memory, because once you have wisdom, a lot of these things in your mind, it helps to beautify your life. It helps to transform your life, change your viewpoint, the way you look at life, the way you look at events, and that matters. Your outlook, the way you look at life matters, because that's the way you deal with life, and that's the way success comes to you. So we need to have a wise outlook. Wise outlook. Cherish time in our daily activities. The world is half and half. Half of it is day and the other half night. The famed Chinese poet Tang Bohu wrote in his 70th poem, "The first 10 years I was too young, and the last 10 too old. There were only 50 in the middle, half of which passed away in the night. In our limited time, the ancients admonished us with, the day has passed, and our life is thus reduced. The day has passed, and our life is thus reduced. They reminded us to cherish time. Time, folks. Time. Write that down. Time. The importance of time. They reminded us to cherish time as we would our life. Time. Circle it. Time. If we have all the wealth in the world, but not the time and good health to enjoy and use it, we would realize the vanity of it all. Therefore, we must treasure time, because time is life. Time is life. For in wasting time, we are killing life. When we are punctual for an appointment, we are treasuring our own time and that of others. When we say we need to save, it should not just be about money, because time is just as important. We need to save time as well. You need to develop a good strategy how you are going to save the time of your life. That's what Master Singing is teaching there. The time of your life. You got to wisely use time of life. You have to meditate on that and think that out. 2. Cherish resources in our daily use. We should not casually destroy anything we use in our daily life, such as a chair. Don't be destructive. Such as a chair, a table, a cup, a plate, or even a thread and needle. We must not lightly discard a piece of vegetable because there is useful life in all things. By randomly destroying things, we are reducing their lifespan and their use. It is a form of killing to waste our fortune. Therefore, we need to cherish resources in our daily use. Don't be wasteful. 3. Cherish our words when speaking. The Analects of Confucius state, a single statement can bring prosperity to a nation. A single statement can bring disaster to a nation. If something is well spoken, it can bring others joy. Like a lotus blossoming from the tongue. If something is not said properly, it kills others' hope, like swords and knives. The renowned Chinese strategist Sun Tzu once said, offering others helpful words is as precious as gold. Write it down. Offering others helpful words is as precious as gold. When you offer other people helpful words, those words are treasures as precious as gold. Okay? Note these things. You see, wisdom, you are not going to just get wisdom in one day. Wisdom is not something you get in one day overnight. That's why I say you should record them. As you are recording them, they are going into your subconscious mind. Wisdom is like seeds. Okay, orange seeds, mango seeds. You can't get oranges or mangoes or pear out of their seeds overnight. You plant them. You wait for a year. You wait for a couple of years. They grow into trees. When these seeds grow into trees, then they flower and then they bear fruit. And now you have your oranges falling from the trees in large quantities, whereas you just planted a seed or two. Right? You have hundreds of oranges now coming out, but you have to wait some time, a couple of years. Same thing with mango, same thing with pear, same thing with many of these perennials. Okay, you have to wait for a couple of years, and then it grows into a tree, and then it bears fruits in large quantities. So is wisdom. So if you have hope that you're already wise, no, that is self-deceit. If you're picking up wisdom, for instance, from Grandmaster Singyun, and you are hoping to sow it into your subconscious mind, to develop it day after day by meditation and reflection, and to let this thing develop like a tree and bear you fruit in a couple of years, that's pretty wise. That's what I'm trying to teach my students to do. Take this wisdom now, embrace it now, and sow it into your subconscious mind. Let wisdom be planted in your subconscious mind. You can call it Buddhist wisdom. Because, for those of you who are Nigerians, even Americans, and both, okay, if you look both ways, the Nigerian side, you guys already have Christian wisdom, Islamic wisdom. Okay, that wisdom has come from Bible and Quran, which are pretty famous books in Nigeria. They are well read all over the country. So you have a lot of Christian wisdom, a lot of Islamic wisdom already. But you lack Buddhist wisdom. You don't have Buddhist wisdom. Okay, it's like computers. When computers came out, there was already electronics. Okay, there was already other aspects, right? But then computers came out. And then you see a lot of engineers have to learn computer engineering. Although they were already electrical engineers, they were already electronics engineers. Okay, electrical engineering, electronics engineering is engineering, but it's not computer engineering. So when computers came out, you had to step up your engineering skills. If you wanted a better job, you had to learn computer engineering. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So once Buddhism becomes available to Nigerians, right now it is, because a Nigerian already studied it. I've studied it. I'm a Nigerian. Okay, I've studied Buddhism in depth. I can now teach Buddhism to you folks. You can now quickly pick it up from me and others. Of course, you can develop Buddhism now, okay, if you like, okay, for those who are interested. Some electrical engineers remained electrical engineers. They were not interested in computer engineering when computers came out. Some electronics engineers continued their field of electronics. Some civil engineers continued the other aspects of engineering. But there is computer engineering because computers came out. So those folks who wanted to study computer engineering were welcome to study computer engineering. That's what I'm talking about, Buddhism. It's an important aspect of divinity. Now I've studied it. I'm the first Nigerian to study it successfully. Now I'm teaching it. So any other Nigerians who may wish to cultivate their knowledge of Buddhism, you are welcome to advance if you like. Just like computer engineering, when computers came out, okay, a few decades ago. Now, if you are not interested in learning anything about Buddhism, Buddhism is not for you, you can continue on Christianity and develop your Christian, just like electrical engineering, you can succeed that way. Or Islam, just like electronics or civil engineering. You can continue your Islamic discipline and very successful. They are all successful areas. But those of you might want to step up to computer engineering. Oh, great. They are all engineering areas. They are all fields of study, okay, of high interest. It makes very interesting things to study. That's all it is. So those of you might want to study Buddhism. Great. A nice study. Okay. You want to continue as civil engineers? Beautiful. Want to continue as electrical engineers? Okay. Structural engineers? Okay. Oh, so many fields of engineering. When computers came out, computer engineering came with it. And students of engineering were interested in studying computer engineering. So, if you want to study computer engineering, beautiful, excellent. That's all it is. It's not a big deal. You have Buddhism now. I'm a Nigerian, American. I've studied Buddhism. So, any Nigerians who want to study Buddhism after me, oh, well, welcome to take it on. It's interesting. Okay, because we have the same origins. I've studied it. Highly interesting. It's just like Christianity, just like Islam. Similar tunes, just like engineering, right? Civil engineering, structural engineering, computer engineering, building engineering, mechanical engineering. They're all engineering. They have something that runs through all of them. But then they have their small little differences. Computer engineering, when computer came, there is this. Okay. So beautiful, right? Students, that's the point well made. Now I'm continuing. Okay, cherish our words when speaking. The Analects of Confucius state, a single statement can bring prosperity to a nation. A single statement can bring disaster to a nation. This is the third golden key, mind you, for those who are writing and trying to keep track. If something is well spoken, it can bring others joy, like a lotus blossoming from the tongue. If something is not well said properly, it kills others' hope, like swords and knives. The renowned Chinese strategist Sun Tzu once said, offering others helpful words is as precious as gold. That's what I told you to write down. Offering others helpful words is as precious as gold. I've been offering you precious words, okay? Helpful words, as precious as gold. Hurting others with cruel speech is as vicious as sharp knives. Okay? Buddhists don't do that. Buddhism also advocates sealing our mouth and hiding our tongue. In the first step in cultivation, we make mistakes if we talk too much, for troubles come from the mouth. Therefore, we have to be careful with every word we speak. To be ethical with our speech is an important cultivation in life. Let me tell you something. People say, well, talking too much can bring a problem. But I also want to add to this, and that's my job, because I'm taking the teachings of Master Singyun and trying to teach you guys the teachings of Master Singyun. While I'm teaching the teachings of Master Singyun, I'm also commenting on the teachings. You have to understand. So I'm teaching Master Singyun's oracle, and also I'm a commentator. I'm commenting. You have to see the job I'm doing. Like any other professor, right? I'm teaching you the wisdom of Master Singyun, and I'm commenting on the wisdom. So right now we're talking about talking. When the Buddha got enlightened, he was so, he felt so elated. He didn't want to teach Buddhism at all. The Buddha, I'm talking about Gautama Siddhartha himself. He was not interested. He didn't want to teach because he was in a certain state. He enjoyed the nirvana, he enjoyed the peace and he enjoyed so much that state. He didn't want to bring himself again. But after a while, he decided to teach. Okay? Talking, it's hard. But not to talk is worse. How do you instruct? How shall Nigerians learn Buddhism if I have learned Buddhism now as the first Nigerian to do so, and then I'm silent? In order to have my peace and my happiness and my nirvana, I keep silent. No more talking. Then nobody's good. Then the Buddhism is useless. I want you folks to study wisdom wisely. Wise study of wisdom. You better follow my teachings now. While you're following Master Singh, you have to be following Christopher Aburime also. We are no longer talking about the studies of wisdom. We are not talking about the wise study of wisdom. You have to study wisdom wisely. Okay, Master Sengyun is saying we shouldn't talk too much about things. At the same time, we have to talk. Because if you don't talk about it, then nobody's going to learn it. So you have to understand what the master is saying. This is what I'm trying to get the students to understand. Don't misunderstand the master. Master said we shouldn't talk, so let's all shut up. Let's all be dummies. The master is not saying we should be dumb. We can't speak. I can't talk. We are dummies. No, that's not what the master is saying. Buddhists are not dummies. Buddhists are not dumb people. The master is not emphasizing that Buddhists should be dumb. We should not talk. You have to talk. The Buddha had to talk. The Buddha didn't want to talk. I'm talking about the Buddha himself now, Gautama Siddhartha. Right? We have to talk. Master Singyun had to talk. You have to talk when it's necessary. A professor has to teach. You have to talk. If you don't talk, the young folk will not learn. Now I have to bring an Esan proverb. I'm an Esan man, right? I have to bring some African wisdom into this to be able, this is an African teacher of Buddhism. So the African aspect must come in. For instance, what I'm teaching now, I have to bring an African proverb. I have to add African wisdom to the Buddhism because Christopher Aburime is an African teacher of Buddhism. My teachings are important. The uniqueness is that an African person is talking about Buddha. That's not very common, but it's going to be common after this. Africans, you're going to have, you always see African people, oh, praise the Lord, praise Jesus. Yes, I have many Africans doing that. Okay, Imams, oh, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Many black faces do that. But now you're going to have a lot more black faces giving discourses on Buddhism. Okay, so the African proverb Very important here. I'm trying to defend Master Singyung's idea wisely so you can understand the wisdom behind it and get the wisdom. Okay. Is, it seems we're going to do this in two parts. So I'll be right back.